Elgato here with another top 5 list for you guys, and this is the top 5 decks for the April 2015 format. So this isn't budget related, this is just purely meta and what decks you're going to need to keep an eye out for and probably want to play if you try and play competitively with Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, so coming in at number 5 is Ritual Beast. So Ritual Beast topped my budget deck, and I think the deck's great. It has good matchups, stun heavy. It can play around a lot of the meta decks right now. And yeah, there's just a low consistency issue, even though it is a consistent deck overall. There is a little bit of a consistency issue. You can brick, and that's probably the only reason why it's not higher on this list is because you can brick. There is a chance where you don't get into your tamers or you don't open up well, but that's why you play a stun heavy deck. So Ritual Beast, number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Burning Abyss. There's probably a lot of controversy about putting it so low on the list when there's gonna be 2 more decks before we get to the probably obvious number 1 option. Burning Abyss is number 4 because it's still getting a lot of representation. It's got access to Dark Law and Crush Card Virus. You're just going to need to see a shift between how you play Burning Abyss the last format and how you play Burning Abyss this format. You're going to see a shift to a back row heavy Burning Abyss, but I still think it's going to be really good, still really consistent. Dante's still good, Virgil's still good. It did get hit a little bit with Tour Guide, but Tour Guide only made your opening hands great. They can still float for days, and they can play the grind game better than any other deck, in my opinion. So Burning Abyss is number 4. Coming in at number 3 is Satellar Knights. Satellar Knights are going to be great because of one thing. Star Seraphs, and Star Seraphs are coming out in April in the World Superstars pack, and Star Seraphs are just going to be insane. They're gonna power up this deck and another deck, which will also be mentioned on this list, and I think you guys already know what it is. So yeah, they've never been hit, they've never been touched. Konami has a thing for this deck, I think, and I feel like they're not gonna touch this deck because in the TCG at least, because each format it's always pushed so close to being really good, but there's just some level of better that's always been above it for the most part. And I think now's going to be the time where you're going to see Satellar Knights really shine, and it's going to have great matchups, especially against these crippled decks like Kleez and Burning Abyss that aren't going to be able to go as fast as Satellar Knights are now with Star Seraphs. So Satellar Knights at number 3. Number 2 is possibly my favorite deck, Shaddolls. Shaddolls are you're seeing a huge return on Shaddolls right now. I mean, Winda's doubled in price, and Kleez are gone, so what's in the meta right now are only good matchups for Shaddolls. They've never been hit before, except in the OCG. And Star Seraphs are coming out, which to a lesser extent helps this deck, but doesn't help this deck nearly as much as it helps Satellar Knights. But it basically lets you pitch constructs and actually makes the deck open to rank 4s a lot easier than it was beforehand. It's going to have really good matchups. It's getting future supports with the Water Fusion coming out soon, and that basically takes a nice blow at Nekros, and the Water Fusion just stops them from playing that deck and also destroys the mirror match. You can also run Dark Law in this deck, and I feel like Dark Law is just too good to pass up on. If you're not running Mass Change to 2 in your Shaddoll deck, whether it's Shaddoll Burning Abyss, Shaddoll Artifact, Shaddoll Lightsworn, whatever engine you're using, you still need to run the Mass Change to 2nd and have at least 2 copies of Dark Law in your extra deck. And I also like how splashable it is. Doesn't matter what engine you feel. it suits you. But there's so many engines you can use, whether it's Burning Abyss or Light Sworns or Artifacts. I still do like playing Heroes, the Hero engine or the Hero mix of Shaddolls, and I still think it's my personal preference on the deck. And so yeah, Shaddolls number 2. And for our honorable mentions, it's basically everything that I mentioned on my budget list, and plus a couple more. I changed my mind about Dark Matter Heretics. I actually think they're actually pretty solid. Just don't feel too good about rank 6s and their effect on the metagame. But Dark Matter is still an amazing card. So I'm just waiting to hear a regionals report where this deck actually does some serious damage. Infernoids, because they are causing problems, but my only problem right now is actually side decking against them is pretty easy with Imperial. And Fire Fists are I think Fire Fists are gonna be really good this format if you're a professional player and you really understand how all the other decks work. So Fire Fists are for really good players, and it's mostly because I think this deck's going to involve a little bit more skill and a little bit more understanding how your opponent plays the deck. And but Fire Fist with 3 Spirit is just going to be great. And there's also a couple formats ago we got 3 Wolfbarks, and Wolfbark is still also a really good card. So Fire Fist. And then I put Heroes because Heroes still seeing a lot of representation, and it's overall an OTK deck and still really cheap. I put Sylvans here because Synchros are coming back, and there's a lot of rank 8s and rank 7s that are still really good. And then I put Yosenjus because Yosenjus are getting future support. Yosenjus with all the stun games, and Lose a Turn coming out. Don't even get me started about that floodgate. We'll just basically push Yosenjus to the next level of stun deck. And coming in at number 1 is the obvious choice, Nekroz. If you look at the deck representation at almost any competition early April, you're going to see Nekroz as probably the only deck you want to play. The representation is insane. There's so many resources in the deck. The deck is so consistent and reliable. How many searchers are there? There's 4 or 5. I mean, they hit prep, but it doesn't matter because you still have 3 Manju, 3 Senju. There's so much more. I mean, even though the ban list limited or semi-limited Bryo, there's still so much more they can do. Valk is still possibly a superior card to Bryonak, and you can see an exchange in prices. Now Bryo's dropping while Valk is now the real money card of the deck. Trishula you can Trish people, and that effect is just insane. Being able to knock out cards or important pieces to someone's play straight out of their hand in their graveyard. It's crazy. They're getting future support with Sophia, and Sophia is not necessarily a card you're going to summon. I recommend at least side decking 1 or main decking 1, because you can basically vanities your opponent for 1 turn if you can't get around a Djinn lock or stuff. And I think the Djinn lock is still crazy powerful, but now people are really starting to side deck against it, so I don't know if it should be the thing that you focus on. What you really should focus on is just still getting more card advantage than your opponent, and just this deck is definitely the way to go for the April format. So that's my list, guys. Tell me what you guys think. Post your list in the comment section below. Message me and tell me what you want to see next. I appreciate any support I can get now. Subscribe to see more Yu-Gi-Oh videos, and like, comment, rate, and share this video. This has been Delgado, and as always, peace.